What's up, YouTube? It's Pastor Bob. Well, on the bench, well, actually, it's on my bed right now because I'm trying to figure everything out before I hit the bench with it. So, this is what the heck model is this? Take a look at it. This is an RD8 Alvarez. It's been played, so it must have sounded really good because whoever owned this, played the snot out of it. But let me show you the problems here. So, the bridge is lifting, as you can see, on both sides. And when I look down it, if you look, you see how it looks like it's contoured, like it's bowed? Well, flat top guitars or dreadnoughts, unless they are built like that, generally that's not the case. And how I know that is because there's a flat part here. But when I look underneath here, right? When I looked underneath here, I could tell you what caused that. They didn't cut and mask this section out on each side of the wing. Right there. Let me show you. Let me bring you in a little bit tighter. Okay, this is just compound from me cleaning. But when I looked underneath this section, here it is. But under here, and under this side right here, and you can see it down there. You look right underneath there. They never took a chisel and chiseled that back out. They should have outlined it with the bridge. Once they outlined it with a scoring tool, take the bridge off, clear all that out, make sure it's nice and clean before they put the bridge back on it. And they didn't do that. So what happened is it caused the bridge to warp and the sides to sag, if you look, on the body. I've seen it bunches of times. And then what happens, which I don't think I'll be able to get you a shot, but on the inside, behind the X bracing, right, you have what's called a bridge plate, and it's underneath here, right? What happens is, if this doesn't sit flat, it's given tension from the inside here, and it's not given a full spread of tension, which I just caught it, I guess, because the front isn't so bad, it's just the back. So what happens sometimes is it pulls that back plate on a curve. See how my hands curve like that? It'll curve the top, and then what it'll do is it'll bow all the braces and tone bars and everything. So I should be able to fix it, but to do it right, if I'm to use these parts that are on here, I'm going to have to take the bridge off, and then I'm going to have to soak that bridge. I'm going to have to soak that bridge and steam it. I'm going to have to wet it down, put it in hot water for about 30-45 minutes, and then I'm going to have to steam it back flat, and then I'm going to have to put it in a jig for a couple of days and let it rest itself back to its normal state. That's the only way that I can probably save this bridge. Otherwise, I'm going to have to make a new compensated bridge. Now, here's the unique thing about Alvarez. Yayari, when Master Yayari designed this bridge system, right? He designed it not so that it looked cool. It's a functional unit, right? So what happens is the strings come up out of here and over the top of the bridge, right? And what happens is it puts downward pressure here, right? And what it does is it eliminates the pressure back here on the pins. It keeps solid pressure here, and that allows for tautness to go all the way down the fretboard. because, you know, on a 6-string guitar, you got about, I don't know, 120 to, I mean, it varies. It depends on the size of the strings. So we'll just say, for sake of an argument, anywhere from 90 pounds to 140 pounds, right? For 6 strings. On a 12-string, you can have double that because of how much tension the strings are pulling. So you figure a 6-string guitar, it's like having a small child, you know, 6 or 7 years old or 10 years old, standing on top of this, you know, putting pressure on top of this body. So what I have to do is I have to get an inspection light and go up inside of there, which I have one out in the garage that I use for my for engines and things like that. I'll have to come up under here and inspect that to make sure that back plate, that bridge plate that's under here, that secures this and keeps it from popping out, is not cracked or damaged. If that's cracked or damaged, then what I have to do is I have to take this whole top off. I'll have to take the whole top off and redo it. And if I'm going to take the whole top off, well, that's when I'm going to really redo the whole thing. Now, this is a solid Sitka spruce top. Beautiful. Probably each piece, the way that I've looked at it, looks like it's probably A grade. Now, these are laminated back and sides, but the Japanese are known for making really good laminates. I mean, it's still solid with laminate, but it's still a laminate. And they tune the guitar to that. What I think I might do is, if I have to do that, then I'm just going to take the back off of this and I'm going to put a solid back on. I'll leave the sides because the sides really don't matter, but I'll probably change the back on it. And if I'm going to change the back on it, then I'm going to ornate it a little bit in the on the fretboard, because that's a beautiful rosewood fretboard. I didn't see it lifting up here, so it hasn't gone down into this section here to the tongue of where your fretboard comes on. Some of the frets look pretty rough. I'm going to see if I can get it out, but them babies are really gouged down in there. I don't think I can. I might have these frets up here ain't too bad. I mean, they don't even look like they're really worn. It looked like the guy, all he did was play down here in this section. I don't know. Maybe he was a bluegrass player or something. But anyhow, I'll, if I have to, I can just replace these 4 frets. Maybe 5. Maybe I'll replace that one too. And the nut looks okay. The headstock's fine. I mean, the rosewood back looks good. I know it's a nice laminate, and the neck is beautiful. Absolutely a nice neck. But I'm going to have to end up doing that. So just keep an eye on that. If you own an Alvarez, 80 series have that happen too. I've seen Master series have that happen. And it's not the company Alvarez's fault. It's somebody there that's working on the assembly line, whether it's made in, you know, China or Indonesia or Korea. And I've seen it many times. I have only seen it once out of probably, oh God, I don't even know how many Alvarez's. Probably over 200 Alvarez's that I've ever repaired on a Japanese model. But the reason why it did it wasn't the fault of the placement or cleaning underneath. There was a defective part inside of the bridge itself that separated, that caused it to buckle like that. It wasn't that they didn't adhere it right, because actually the tips were still connected, but because it split right down in here in this weak point, because it split, it started bowing up. That's the only time I've seen it on a Japanese model. You know, a Master Yari's hand built, but it's repairable, you know. It's repairable. Otherwise, it looks pretty sound down in there. I mean, the braces look good. I just can't see this plate back here to tell what's going on. If the plate doesn't look like it's bad, then I'll take this bridge off. And then what I'll do is, I'll make sure this area is really clean, right? To where I could adhere the glue. But before I adhere the glue, I'll soak this one area right here with water. I'll steam it. And then what I'll do is, I'll take and I'll make that flat again. What I do is I press it down. I put some clamps on it, and I'll clamp that down to where it's flat. And then I'll leave it for about a week for it to settle. And how you do it is, you put it on there a little bit at a time. Right? So you give it some tautness till it hits, and then give it like a half turn. And then let it sit for about 8 hours. Give it another half turn until you get your top to go down flat. Then once it's to where you believe it's flat, you can put your square up there, make sure that it's all square. Then you want to leave it for about a week and check it. And if it doesn't bounce back, then it'll set itself. And then once it's set itself, then what you want to do is you want to glue the bridge on. And then once you glue the bridge on, you want to put that back down there. You want to put the clamps back down tight for the whole thing to make sure that it doesn't come back up again, and then leave it for another week. And that way what will happen is the glue will eventually settle itself down through the fibers in the wood, and you'll give yourself good adhesion, and that should fix it. If after all of that it decides to spring back, that's when I'll just take the top off, and I'll address the whole thing. But it's a lot of work to take the top off, because you got to take the neck off, and then you got to come through here, and you got to gingerly take all of this off, because it's all got that binding. So you got to get up underneath the binding. So you got to crack the shell. So it's just a lot of work, you know. And there are other ways of doing it, but they're a little more sophisticated. And I really don't want to get into that right now on this type of guitar. I mean, this is an older model. Well, this is probably 25-year-old model. And, you know, I mean, they're only like $400. I mean, new ones are only about, I think, around $400 or $500 for this style, you know, with a mother toilet seat inlay. And I mean, it's a real inlay. You can feel it. Which is kind of strange, because some of them, when you're looking at the rosettes, they're not like that. But that's it, guys. I just wanted to give you an update on what I'm doing. Okay, guys, take care. God bless. Wish me luck. It's Pastor Bob. I'm out of here. See ya.